certainly plan to be there again this year and doing the walk, so I hope you'll join us. Next up, hot feet. We go, I know a gentleman with hot foot. You know, this is one of those guys, I've got just a quick brief introduction to John Yoder. When he goes out to do something, he tackles it and he gets it done. A couple of years ago, I think maybe it was 3 years ago, or just when the Boys and Girls Club of Central Yavapai was starting, John said, I'm going to go out and raise $5,000 for the Boys and Girls Club of Central Yavapai. I think it was running then, too, wasn't it, John? They were going to sponsor Mr. Yoder on running. He went out and did it. Well, he's come up with a brand new program, and trust me, he will get it done. He does not take no for an answer. He's got a thing working now called Tour de PV, and it's going to be a wonderful thing for the Boys and Girls Club of Central Yavapai. Please welcome a doer, if you will, Mr. John Yoder. Don.
Well, I'm glad he told that story because that's on his time. So. For the cameras. Also affectionately known as, for those who are familiar with the hydrating techniques of long-distance runners, the Tour de PP. So watch out for if you have any bushes in your yard and you're on the route here. The Tour de PV is going to take place on, actually, hopefully you don't get tired on her walk, because the very next morning is when the Tour de PV is taking place. And we've basically put together something for everybody. We've got a half marathon, and the half marathon is going to be going all around Prescott Valley to all the hot spots and the parks and the Civic Center and Manly. I call Manly our ski slopes, because if anybody's been on Manly, that's where the runners will have a little bit of fun going up and down hills. Everybody who's coming to this thinks it's flat, so they'll get surprised when they come around the corner there at Ranger. But it's got a 10K run as well, which is 6.2 miles. It's got a 5K run, which is 3.1 miles. And then it's got a 2-mile fun walk, which won't be timed, but it'll be something that the whole family can come out when they're done walking that one. They can go home, go to bed, get up in the morning, and walk ours as well. Every single route goes either around or past, or like the 2-mile walk actually goes right through the Civic Center. And it all starts and ends at the big arch at the Prescott Valley Town Center that says Prescott Valley Town Center. That's going to be the actual starting gate and the finish right there. So it's taken a little bit of work to get it all worked out, but we've got it done now. About the Boys and Girls Club, which is what all this is about. It's about raising money for the Boys and Girls Club. Boys and Girls Club was actually founded in March of 2000. Its current membership, and that's the kids, is about 360, and they've got an average of 120 that are there on a daily basis. Full-time employees, they've got 2, an executive director and then an assistant, and then they've got about 5 part-time employees, and it takes about $400,000 a year to run the Boys and Girls Club of Central Yavapai right here. So we're, you know, people who, when I went out looking for sponsors, they're going, aren't you the same ones that do the golf tournament and the telethon? And I'm just like, we're just a fundraising machine. I mean, that's how we have to keep this thing. We just got to raise funds all the time to keep it going. And running is my passion. It's something I've always enjoyed, and so this was an easy thing for me to take up as a project, and I'm really privileged. I want to tell Lou that I'm really privileged to be appearing on a show that plays with the reruns of the Prescott Valley Parade and other shows like that. But anyway, obviously, you know, one of the appearance today is to talk to runners and walkers to participate as many as possible. You know, we've got a lot of sponsors. If I have time, I'll mention them. But we have a lot of sponsors, and I want to make them happy, and plus for every time we get somebody signed up, that's more money for the Boys and Girls Club. But also right now we need volunteers. I need volunteers, and that's why I put that up there, because we have been putting out PSAs, we've been putting out different things, but very few phone calls right now. And what we're going to have a lot of guests. I'm getting a lot of emails from people from Tucson, from Phoenix, from Flagstaff. We're in Runner's World magazine, which is a national magazine. So we're getting calls from Washington and from different places. So we're going to have a lot of guests, and I want these guests to just really see the warmth of this town that I've seen since I've moved here. And we'll be able to do that if we have a lot of people out there having fun. It's fun to volunteer for one of these. We're going to have a blast that morning. And so if you could call that number, I want to just leave you kind of, when it comes to the volunteers, leave you with just a little story that happened in my own life when it comes to running. The marathon that he mentioned, I had my family with me. I had a wife and a daughter, and it was a wonderful moment in my life. It was the first marathon I had ever run, and the people in Las Vegas put together a great show. They had a lot of good volunteers. Well, 3 months after that, my life had changed drastically, and unfortunately, I was going through a separation, and my daughter was out doing her own thing and really didn't care about my running or care about anything. And I wanted to do the Whiskey Row Marathon right here in town. And so I went ahead and trained for it, and I did it. And it's anybody who's familiar with that, it's tough. I'll never do it again. It's one of Gerald Brownlow's routes, and he's crazy when it comes to coming up with these runs. But when I was coming back, and I was coming up to the finish line just completely beat up. My legs could barely move, and yet I went into a running stride, because you always run over the finish line no matter how bad you feel. There was no finish photography, no family members, nobody I knew personally who was going to meet me there at the finish line. And there was a girl who was a teenage girl, and she had a shirt that said volunteer on it, and she was standing there clapping and saying, "Go, you're almost there, you're going to make it." And I looked at her and I said, "Let me ask you something. Do you think you could run faster than I could right now?" Because I was dead. And she goes, "Yeah, I think so." And I said, well, I pulled out a little throwaway camera I had, and I threw it at her. I said, "Go to the other side of the finish line and take a picture of me coming across the finish line." And this was the result of the picture that she got. And I have no idea who this girl was. If she happens to see this show and remembers doing that for me, I'd like you to call that number and let me know. So the next time and I've told the story countless times, but as a volunteer, you don't always know just how much you've affected people's lives. But she affected my life tremendously, and I've bragged about this a million times, and I've got more professional-looking pictures, but that picture touches me more than any of them. And so I hope to see all of you out there at the Tour de PV September 13th. 7 o'clock is going to be the half marathon, and then the other ones fall right after that. If you want to check our website for all the information, including registering online, you can check on bgccy.org. That's bgccy.org, and just click on Tour de PV, and you'll have all the information you need on there.
Registration fee is how much?
Registration fees vary. So, I mean, there's 4 different races, and the fee goes down as you go slower or less miles. And so it varies, and then it also varies depending on if you sign up before September 1st, because there's discounts if you sign up before September 1st. And by the way, this is Darby. He's our mascot, the running antelope. So, any other questions? Yeah.
I hear you're in need of a sound system and announcement. I'd like to volunteer.
Okay. Bill Sudemeyer has just volunteered. All right. Yeah.
Will you have the T-shirts on sale as running for them?
Well, probably after, unless we underestimate. I think I'm overestimating on it, and if that's the case, then they will be for sale after. And we're going to have mugs for the prizes, which will have sponsors on them and stuff. And I got a feeling we're ordering like 200 so mugs, but I don't think we're going to have everybody in every age category. So we'll probably have mugs for sale as well. Anything else?
Yeah, John, you're planning to do this annually now. This is not going to be a one-time thing.
Right. This is my vision of this is to be our Prescott Valley's version of the Whiskey Row Marathon. That this is, and someday turn it into a marathon. Now that we got Fain Road complete out there, someday it might even be next year, we may turn it into a marathon as well. So yes, this is going to grow and grow and grow and hopefully just be a tradition.
Have you set a goal for what you'd like to raise yet from Boys and Girls Club? What are you looking to raise?
Our goal has been to make money on this one because we didn't know what we were heading into. Our sponsorships have been tremendous since he brought that up really quick. Liberty Mitsubishi is a major sponsor, Fry's is a major sponsor, and Fane Signature Group. Those three are big-time sponsors. Ace Valley and Yavapai Regional right behind them as far as big sponsors, and then a whole bunch more, including, I have to say this because Mingus Motors, who I work for, is going nuts with phone calls and me leaving and doing things like this and that type of thing. So I have to thank them. And Biff's Bagels and Signs Plus is going to provide all the signs. Coca-Cola is supplying all the sports drink. So because of that, we've all the money that comes from the runners is going directly to them. I'd say we're looking at raising possibly about $10,000 for our first one.
Anything else for John? Lou Reed first? Yeah, I'll be running.
He'll be walking the night before, then he'll be running. Lou just does everything.
I'm running for my life. John, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Very best to you, my friend. Oh, there it goes. We knew. That's okay. That's okay. The show must go on. We think nothing of it. And John didn't tell you. Occasionally we trip here. But that's the fun of live to tape. Live to tape, cut tape. We can't do it. It's going on. Thank you very much, John. We're all going to be out there running our hearts out for the Boys and Girls Club of Central Yavapai. You know, one of the things we've talked about before